talked a little bit about this, but again, attending wanting to know a little bit about instances where a borrower passes away. You did talk about that, but there's no information as to the next of kin. Then how do you issue the notice of default? What are those next steps? Our attendee wanting us to drill down a little bit more on that.
Depending on the terms of the note and mortgage, and this may vary from state to state, the notice of default can be sent to the property address, at least in the state of Connecticut. It may vary from different jurisdictions, and in instances in a judicial foreclosure, such as Connecticut, what we would be looking to do we would be looking to serve process of the foreclosure action via publication. So let's say, for instance, we have a borrower who passes away in the state of Connecticut. The property has now become vacant and there's no one maintaining it. A probate search is done and there are no probate matters open for the individual. What can be done in some instances is you can use a skip trace. You can review obituaries to see if you can find potential heirs. And if there is none of that information or there is no way to track down any potential heirs, the state of Connecticut has a process upon which we can do service by publication, which would typically allow us to proceed forward with a foreclosure action and then go forward from there.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Another question here coming in from one of our attendees. Again, I know you've covered a lot of this information. We just want to kind of go back and clarify when we cover this much information. This attendee saying, when a borrower contacts you regarding a default notice concerning a move out again, again, if you could just talk a little bit about those steps. How do you handle the information when they state they've lived on the property the entire time?
Typically, what we'll end up seeing is we will end up seeing the questionnaire reissued to the borrower at the property address. So HUD requires under Handbook Section 1322 an annual certification that the borrower has resided at the property. And as I mentioned earlier, we've run into some issues where there's a potential dementia issue. And they may be getting mail and not realizing they need to open it, or they fail to recognize they need to respond to it. So what we would recommend in those instances is that if they receive a call from a borrower stating that they've resided at the property, that there's an information that's provided to them that there will be mail coming and it is necessary for the individual to respond back.